Okay, so this is just a rough one that I came up with. It doesn't mean that yours is wrong, but let me just show you how I thought through it here. I had, of course, movies as an entity, and some of you may have broken out studio as its own entity and not an attribute in movie. So my thinking was they only had the name of the studio, and I usually there's only one studio per movie, but that may not be the case. So some of you may have thought we definitely need a separate attribute for studio, and you might have just had a studio ID and the name of the studio, and that would have used the same number of attributes that we had in our spreadsheet. But this is something you would have had to ask the owners, the users, and what output they are going to need for their system. So, for example, if they needed the address of the studio or description of the studio or who owned the studio, those would definitely have been something you would have put in its own entity and linked it to table. We also, if you think about maybe they might want to put studios in their database that maybe aren't related to a movie yet. So they just want to keep track of all the studios, regardless if they're, put in as a foreign key into the movie yet. So you may have had studios as a separate attribute or entity, not an attribute like I do, and that would have been totally fine. But I did leave mine that way. I just assumed maybe they just need a studio name inside movie. If you broke it out, you're probably more realistic. Okay, let's go through the relationships here. Movies and actors. So there was an actor's last name and first name. Again, you would probably have more attributes for them. But there can be many actors in a movie, and a movie can have actors can play in many different movies, and the movies can have many different actors. There was a many-to-many relationship here, so we did have a linking table, and at this point, the only columns there were the two primary keys being combined as a composite key as the ID for the movie cast is what I called it, but you might have named it something else. So you'll see that most of these are also many-to-many, so they're kind of repeated again and again. So movies can have many different genres. They can belong to many different genres. Genres can show up in lots of different movies. So they're, again, the many-to-many with a composite key. Movies can have many different features. These features can show up in many different movies. And this is also how I did the media. Movies can have many different media types. I could have the same movie that's a Blu-ray, a DVD, streamed, downloaded, whatever, all the different types there are. And I can also, then those types of media belong to lots of different movies. Lots of different movies are on DVD, lots of different movies are on Blu-ray. So there was a many-to-many there. Now, price was kind of the interesting one that I hope you guys figured out, because you wouldn't put the price in media because not all DVDs for every single movie are the same price. Not all Blu-rays are the same price for every single movie. So wouldn't it fit there? If you look at movie and if you'd put a price here, what does that mean? Movies can be sold to theaters. Movies can be on DVDs. Movies can be on Blu-rays. Movies can be downloaded. So there's really not one set price here, and you can't have repeating columns that are the same. So really, it depends. That price depends on which movie it is and what media type it was. At that point, you might have, let's say, a price that the studio sets. Of course, you're going to get it on sale in different stores for different prices, but maybe the standard base price that they have printed on the movie would be something that would go here because it depends on both of those different attributes. Next week, when we talk about normal form, this is an example of second normal form, and that the attribute has to match both of the primary keys. So we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, so here's a look at what mine looked like. I just wanted to show you really quick how that kind of breaks down when you look at it by data. So here are my entities. I have the movie entity with some data in it. I have the actors entity or table and the genre table. And this is kind of a lookup table. Remember, there's only so many genres out there. features that may be kind of like a lookup table as well. There's probably only so many different types of features. And then media would kind of be a lookup table. So a lot of these are lookup tables. Actors are not lookup tables. You can have so many different actors. And movies would not be a lookup table. But these three kind of would be. So just to show you kind of a linking table, we talked a lot about the movie and the media. So let's take a look what that linking table would look like. You would have the name of the number of the movie, which was Toy Story, the media ID, which the 50s are DVDs, and then the price. So that movie in DVD is this price. Empire Strikes Back in Blu-ray is this price. So I could also have Empire Strikes Back in DVD for this price. Do you see how none of these two columns together, the composite key, are ever going to be the same? You can repeat different DVDs and Blu-rays over here. These might repeat it, but the two together are unique for every single row. So hopefully that kind of helped. And if yours was way different, that's okay. But I do want to, we will be talking about that and we'll go from there.